Hello and welcome to SF Giants Recap, and we are live. And so we're going to go over some free agent signings for this season, and it's been pretty hot lately because there's probably going to be a lockdown for the season, for the off season, because of the CBA and all that stuff going on in the MLB commissioner and all that. And so that's why there's a lot of free agent signings lately, because you never know if it'll get shut down by December 1st and maybe delay spring training and other stuff. And so we'll see what happens with all of those signings and the CBA lockout, or if there's not going to be a lockout. And so let's go over some signings. If you do end up enjoying the live stream or the video, depends on when you're watching, make sure to subscribe and like. And so the Rangers, they are going big. They got Marcus Semien and John Gray, and then they just signed Cory Seeger to a big deal. And so let's go over the Marcus Semien. The deal is worth $175 million, and the John Gray one is $56 million. And so these are some big signings. The Rangers going all in because they want that AL West, even competing with the Astros. And so the A's have always been good, but the Rangers, they're coming out hot this free agent market right now. And so also the Cory Seeger signing, that is a huge signing. That is like one of the bigger signings that is going to happen this free agent, this offseason, I mean. And so I'm going to show you this, let me switch over to the screen. Just a second. The Cory Seeger signing, here is what is happening right there. Cory Seeger is signing a 10-year, $325 million contract with the Rangers. So they'll have Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who's a pretty decent utility guy, can play third base, can play a lot of other positions. Then you have Marcus Semien at second, and Cory Seeger at short. That's a stacked infield. And that's really good hitting infield. So that's what you have there, according to Jeff Paxton right there. And so the Rangers, they are doing big moves right now in the off season. And so the other thing to look at right now is the Mets. The Mets have also been doing a lot of big moves. They just signed Max Scherzer to a 3-year, $130 million contract. And so that is the other big news is the Mets. The Mets and the Rangers going all in right now with signing the Mets signing Max Scherzer. They signed Starling Marte, Mark Canha, and Eduardo Escobar. So there's some pretty good bats, all really decent bats. And then adding an ace with another ace, Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer. Like, imagine that 1-2 punch. You go into the series and you're looking at those two. That's going to be pretty rough matchup, to say the least. And so that is what is happening there. And then let me go on to the other screen. And so, off screen. Okay. I'm going to show you the other signing right now. And that is with the Giants. The Giants are kind of nearing signing Alex Cobb, as reported. And so they are Alex Cobb finalizing a deal. And if you look at this right here, the money spent so far, the Rangers are at top with $561 million. And this isn't just in 1 year. This is just going to be like through their contract. And so the Mets, $254 million. Blue Jays, $121 million. And they signed Kevin Gausman. So that's the other thing I want to go over is Kevin Gausman. He went to the Blue Jays on a 5-year deal. And in my opinion, 5 years, a person commented on my YouTube video of like he's going to lose his fastball and a splitter. And in 5 years, think about it, yeah, he probably is. And so the Mariners signed $115 million getting Robbie Ray. That is a huge signing right there. I kind of thought the Giants would try to go after him, but with that amount of money the Mariners spent, I don't blame the Giants for not going in on Robbie Ray. And then the other thing is the Astros, $67 million. Marlins doing pretty good with $53 million. they got Jacob Stallings in a trade. They got Avisail Garcia, and then the Angels went with Michael Lorenzen, and the Cardinals with Steve Matz, and then the Giants at 10th with re-signing Anthony Discofani, and they are finalizing a deal with Alex Wood. Alex Pavlovich came out and said that Alex Wood is getting a physical today, so it was a physical that was pending, and so that's why they're going to finalize that deal after he gets a physical. Maybe it's just hard to get into the doctors right now and all that, but that is why Alex Wood has not been finalized, is because he's pending the physical right there. And so that kind of answers our question of why isn't the Alex Wood deal getting finalized, and that is because he is getting his physical. And so after that news, it kind of brings it down to just Discofani, Webb, and Wood. And so with those three, and then if we're signing Alex Cobb, like it says right here, the Giants are on the verge of getting Alex Cobb, which would be a good number 5 starter or number 4. And so right here, that's what it says. And then the Dodgers, if you look at this, Max Scherzer signed with Mets. That's gone. Corey Seager, gone. And Max Muncy reveals that he has a torn UCL. And so that is good for us as Giants fans, that the Dodgers having a really tough time, but they still have a loaded roster. And with a bunch of names like Mookie Betts, Walker Buehler, all those guys, they're still going to be in contention, but just not as much as usual. And they'll probably go out and sign people later, but they've been pretty quiet, surprisingly. I was expecting the Dodgers to be one of the more aggressive teams during this free agent market and off season. And so right here, it's just all about how the Giants are finalizing a deal with Alex Cobb, which would be a really good deal in my opinion, because we need Cobb. We need Cobb as our number 5, with Discofani as a 4, Wood as a 3, and then who are we going to get for number 2? Still hasn't been really mentioned for the Giants lately, but we could go with like a guy like James Paxton, which wouldn't really be a good number 2, but we could still go after him. And so that is a possibility of Alex Cobb being our number 5, and also having James Paxton. There's some other guys I can't really think of any right now, but that is the news for the day right here. Mets get Scherzer. Rangers get a lot of people. Simeon, they get John Gray. I thought the Giants were going to go after John Gray because that'd be a guy the Giants would seem to sign, but they have not made any big moves except for re-signing Wood and Discofani. And the Rangers also get Corey Seager with Marcus Simeon, as I already said. But the Mets also making big signings with Escobar, Starlin Marte, and all those guys. And so it'll be interesting to see what the rest of this off season will hold. And we'll just go over some stuff right now. If you have any comments, put your comments into the chat and answer the question, the poll that I put up. And right now, I'm just kind of waiting to see if the Giants are signing Alex Cobb, and if it's official. I'll be back in a second. So I'm going to go look right now, see what is happening in the free agent market as I speak. And so the Giants are probably going to get Alex Cobb as their number 5, and probably going to have Wood and Discofani, and then Webb as their ace. And with all those guys, I don't know what the Giants are going to try to do for that number 2. And so these are some of my ideas where the Giants were going to go after like Mark Canha as a sneaky little signing. I was thinking they were going to go after Marcus Simeon, but that's gone. And then I was thinking Marcus Strowman, which they could still go after. They're in the running for Marcus Strowman, and I could really see them trying to get him as their number 2 starter with Alex Cobb as their number 5. And so that will be the interesting thing to look at, is who will be the Giants' number 2 starter for the 2022 season. And so that's the big question that is coming up right now. And so I'm going to go look at what you guys have put for the poll of if the Giants are going to sign, and 100% say yes. And so that is pretty interesting. 100% of you think that there is going to be a semi-big signing for the Giants, and I think that could happen. I don't think that's a big guess, but Farhan's going to do his thing. And Farhan, the thing I saw is Farhan knows way more about players, like some player analysis, than others, and so it'll be interesting to see who he pulls out of the bag, because we got Discofani and Wood, and we were happy about that, but like we didn't really expect to win over 85 games, 80 games, and then the coaching staff coaches them well and advances their pitching, and they come out as one of the best pitchers in the MLB and help us get 107 wins. 107 wins doesn't happen by fluke. You have to have some good pitchers, and so the Giants did that with getting Wood and Discofani, and I think bringing them back is good for a cheap amount. Wood for 2 years and Discofani for 3, and so that really stabilizes that, so we won't have questions next off season as for the pitching that we do right now. And so there is no word on Alex Cobb. All it says is that the Giants are finalizing a deal. So it'll come down to how much, and Giants forever, baby. Yes, sir. So we will be seeing what happens for the Giants right now. Alex Cobb, let's go to his stats. Let me pull up his stats right now. And so give me just a second. I think he's around a 4 ERA pitcher, and he played with the Orioles in 2020 along with the Angels for 2021. And so I'm pulling up his stats right now, and I'll switch over to that screen as we get people coming in. So, okay, share screen. Okay, we're going to hop over to Alex Cobb's stats. And so, because the Giants are finalizing a deal with Alex Cobb, and so let's look at his stats. Okay, he had a 1.7 WAR, isn't great. 8-3 win-loss record, which really doesn't matter. 3.76 ERA, that's pretty good. That's better than Alex Wood. So he did pitch pretty good, 93 innings, not a ton of innings, but still that's a lot. And 98 strikeouts, 1.264 WHIP. And so in 2022, let's just look at the projections. 8-7 projection, 121 innings. Thing that I thought about is innings mean outs, and so if you can get an inning eater, that'd be really good. Especially that we could have used that in 2021 because of how many bullpen games we did. And so, what did this one say? Alex Cobb is nice. Strowman would be better. That would be a solidify the rotation. Yep, Strowman and Cobb would be a solid addition to the rotation with Webb. Then Strowman would be in the 3, Discofani be in the 4, and Cobb taking up the rear. That's a solid rotation. That's a rotation that could easily win 90 games, 80, high 80 games, and it'll all depend on the offense too. But Alex Cobb has been playing in the majors for 10 years. He's with the Tampa Bay Rays for a lot of his career, Baltimore for 3 years, Angels, and now probably Giants. And this would be a pretty reasonable signing. Nothing too what am I trying to say, pricey, and also not a bad signing, because everyone's wanting the Giants to go after a huge name. But when you think about it, we signed Johnny Cueto. That wasn't a great deal. Longoria, not an amazing deal. Jeff Samardzija, that was a huge signing, not a big outcome. So there's a lot of these signings that we think we need to sign, these big name guys, but really it'll all come down to how they perform. And Longoria, Cueto, Jeff Samardzija, they didn't perform as we were hoping and as the money said. So that's just the reality of it. Is we could sign a guy for $10 million, he could perform like a $30 million. We could sign a guy for $30 million, play like a $10 million. So it'll all depend on how the season progresses, and we'll see how this 2022 season ends up. I'm trying to look for any news. I haven't gotten any updates, and so let's go back to his stats. Let's see how many hits he allowed. 85 hits, not bad at all. 46 runs, 39 earned runs. His problems have been the walks. In 2021, he kind of had a little bit more walks. Well, actually, you look at it. He pitched in 179 innings in the years before. That's his highest. Pitched in high hundreds, and in 2021 he only pitched in 93. So he could be like a good sixth starter if we do sign someone else. We still need a right-handed batter to replace Buster. Yeah, definitely. We could go after. I've been trying to think of guys we could go after for batting, and we could go after like Jonathan VR, but I think he's left-handed. Let me look. Jonathan VR, I think, could be a good. Oh, he bats both, so that would be a good addition that I think we could go after. Jonathan VR. If you agree or disagree, then because let's look at his stats. In 2021, he had the same WAR as Alex Cobb. He had a 454 at bat, 250 average. That's not horrible. 322 on base percentage, 416 slugging, 730 OPS, 102 OPS plus. So he's playing about average. We could get him for pretty cheap for what he's produced. His projected batting average is supposed to be better in 2022, according to Baseball Reference. And before years prior, he's been one of the better players. Always held consistent with average 260s, 270s. In 2020, he kind of had a down year, but still pretty good player that we could get. And yeah, Seiya Suzuki would be incredible. Yeah, that would be a legit power hitter. Yeah, let me do some research on him. Is that Seiya Suzuki? Baseball outfielder. Yeah, the Giants could go after him because I was hearing about him of like what he's done in the Japanese league and all that. And so let's go through his statistics. They won't really compare for the MLB, but we can still look at his batting average, 319 and 250, and that was in 131 games. He batted 319. Wow, that is super good in the Japanese league. And he also batted 300 in 2020. In 2019, he batted 335. So yeah, this guy is a legit power hitter. I was like hearing his name around and like what we were gonna do, and I didn't really think of him that much. And now I look at his stats; he's a legit hitter, and he could really perform in the MLB. And so we'll see what happens if we sign him. That'd be a pretty interesting international signing because Darren Ruff went to the KBO and played, and then came to the Giants, and he performs great. He's been one of our better power hitters. We need at least one big bat if this is the Giants sign as pitchers leave, then a ton of money to sign up position players. KB. Yeah, we could sign Chris Bryant, but that'd be pretty expensive. I have a hard time seeing them sign Chris Bryant, but with all the other signings, anything could happen at this point. So Chris Bryant could be one of them that comes back, and I wouldn't be surprised, but we still have Longoria. He can play a lot of positions too, so that's a good utility player to have. So let's go look at one of the other. Wish Chris Bryant would have done more for us. Yeah, he did not do a ton for us, but he still played pretty good in the postseason. And so he could be another possibility for us to sign. We sign Alex Cobb. Yeah, Alex Cobb, I was just looking at it, and he's a pretty good pitcher, and so we will see if we sign him. And we look at Seiya Suzuki, and he in 2021 he had a really good average, super good on base percentage, and some really good slugging. And so we'll see if we sign him. Actually, Chris Bryant did well for us in the playoffs. If we did sign him, I'd be cool with that. Yeah, I'd be cool with that too. I think it'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, Chris Bryant would be pretty expensive, but with all the signings that are happening, the Giants could go after him. So we could see if they go after him for just to get a guy to sign because everyone else been taken. So let's look at Alex Cobb again because some of the people weren't here. Alex Cobb I think the Giants are nearing a signing. I haven't seen any updates or anything, but I bet they will sign him. So let's look at Alex Cobb right here. Okay, right here, 3.76 ERA, which is better than Alex Wood. I would take him as a 5-starter. Pretty good, solid arm for a 5-starter right there. And let's go and look at something right here. We're looking at 50-50. Are the Giants going to sign a semi-big free agent and before December 1st? And it is 50-50. Now it's 67-33. And so that'll be interesting to see if the Giants do sign someone big before December 1st, which will probably be the lockout for the MLB CBA because of all the things going on in the office for MLB. And so Alex Cobb, he's never been an ace for any means, but he has always been pretty solid. 2019, he had a 10 ERA in only 3 games, and so I think he got hurt that year. In 28 games, 2018, he had a 4.9 ERA. Never been a super good pitcher, but in 2021, he did perform really well. In 2020, wasn't a horrible year in Baltimore. He still pitched pretty decent, but yeah, the Giants will probably get him. So look, if not KB, then Chris Taylor. Taylor. Yeah, we could definitely go after Chris Taylor. Let me look at it. Chris Taylor, okay, he has a 2.6 WAR, 254 batting average. Just a second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. 257 batting average. Been pretty good for the Dodgers. 20 home runs. Be a really good utility guy. Yeah, I think we could go after Chris Bryant or Chris Taylor. The two Chris's. So we'll have to see what happens. Oh my. Okay. Sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. Taylor would be okay. I could live with that. Yeah. Taylor would be definitely okay. Probably cheaper than Chris Bryant, which would be the nice part. But we'll have to see what happens with Chris Bryant. And so we'll see what happens with Chris Bryant. And Taylor would probably be cheaper. Yeah. Taylor would definitely be cheaper. And so let's go to Chris Taylor's stats again. He has a slugging percentage of .435, 760 OPS, which is pretty good. Solid. 800 is about average, but still. That's projection. My bad. Let's look at 2021. 2021, 782 OPS, so about the same. He will probably be cheaper than KB, of course, and produce around the same numbers. Hopefully he'll be better with the Giants. But the thing with Chris Taylor, I never really liked him. I feel like he doesn't fit the Giants' criteria. But if he's a good player, then why not sign him? It's kind of like, okay, let's look. It is reported that Cobb is a done deal with details of his signing pending. Good to know. Yeah, we could see if let's see how much money it is. But if it's a done deal, that's a pretty good move by the Giants. I really like that move with getting Alex Cobb for probably pretty cheap. And so let's look at the other comment right here. It'd be nice if Longo could start hitting like a boss. We have him for one more year. Yeah, Longoria, he looked like he was going to be one of the best third basemen in the league in 2021, but then he got hurt, unfortunately. But I feel like, yeah, he could go back to that hitting like 2012 again, where he was like one of those MVP caliber guys. But we'll have to see what happens with Longoria because he hit a lot of doubles last year. I feel like his power was back a little bit, but it'll be interesting to see. Let's go to Longoria's stats because I know he hasn't done amazing, but I haven't paid attention enough to see how he was with the Giants and if he was worth his contract because I think it's for a pretty big amount, like 70 million, if I'm not mistaken, or around that. 2021. So with the Giants, we got him in 2018. He batted. Oh, he batted 244, 254, 254, 261. Nothing special right there. Like that's like before then he's batting like 290s, 280s, like, and then he drops down to 250s and 260s. Like that's not a guy that you go after a major signing and then you get him for I think 5 years we're gonna have him and he bats 250 around there the whole time. Like that's a signing that we want to try to avoid this year because there's been a lot of signings happening that could end up like Marcus Semien. Kevin Gausman could be a horrible pitcher in a couple of years. Cory Seeger, on the other hand, I feel like will keep being a great hitter, but I feel like he will probably stay around the same. But guys like Marcus Semien could easily fall off a bridge. Right here we have another comment. So we have Webby, Wood, Disco, and now Cobb. So we need one more pitcher. Yeah. The other thing to think about is we have Sammy Long, who is the minor league pitcher, if you haven't heard of him. But he pitched in a couple of games in the majors. He has a little bit to overcome, but he could also be like our sixth guy if we still need to sign one more guy. But I feel like if we go after like one more, if we have Sammy Long be our sixth guy, like an inning eater if someone gets hurt, like that'd be really nice to have Sammy Long perform. Sean Jelly will probably be up this year, at least once this year, I'm thinking. And also we could go out and sign a nice cheap like guy like Jose Quintana that we had as an inning eater in the bullpen. And so we could sign guys like that. And so we'll have to see what happens. And so Longoria, we definitely want to avoid a signing like Longoria. And so let's go to so we could assign Seiya Suzuki and Alex Cobb that we're getting, and then we could go after Marcus Strowman, and then we could go after like is James Paxton? Let me see. All right, here James Paxton. Let's look at. Okay, let's look at James Paxton because I know he's a free agent. In 2021, 6.75 ERA. He only played in one game. I think he got hurt. Was that right? How Mariners can proceed with Paxton out? Yeah. So he left the game in April. And so, yeah, he had some elbow injuries and stuff. But signing a guy like James Paxton with signing a guy like Paxton who's coming off an injury could be risky, but at the same time it'll be pretty cheap. And so that may be a platoon between Long and Beatty. Yeah, Beatty I didn't really like. Long didn't impress me so much, recap, but maybe he'll be better next season. Yeah, the first game I was like, oh yes, we finally got like a number 5 starter because like he had like a no hitter going through. But then the next couple of games he pitched in, like I feel like his curveball is just a looping curve that can get smacked around, and his fastball is nothing special. So a lot could happen during the off season where he could fix it. But yeah, so Michael, that might work. Yeah, we could platoon those two guys with Long and Beatty. Beatty, I feel like is not. I don't have faith in Beatty as much as Long, just because Beatty's been in the game longer, and I feel like Beatty's gotten beat around so much with his injury and all that. I feel like Long's a better like option, but at the same time, we could see how Beatty will perform in spring training, and there's a lot to be said with the rotation. So that'll be the interesting thing to look at. And so we'll see what happens during this off season to see if we sign any more guys, because Long and Beatty would be good to have as our number 6 and 7 if we need to platoon guys back and forth to get in some relief pitching or some inning eaters. Yeah, Long has to work on that fastball, 100%. It like his curveball is like really good, but not with his fastball, because his fastball just straight doesn't move at all. It's like 90, like low 90s, nothing special, and he gets smacked around. Like I was watching the A's game when we were playing the A's, and he just got like it wasn't even fun to watch because he was throwing right down the middle, nothing special, and then he's throwing his looping curve, which is like 72, and they just get whacked around. So yeah, Long didn't do anything really impressive, but I feel like he does have a lot of potential. The Giants are hot on Suzuki. Oh yeah, that'd be really good to see if we could get Suzuki, because I don't know if you guys were here earlier. I know some of you were, but Suzuki was like, you look at his stats in the Japanese league, it doesn't really compare it to the major league, because you never know how some guys fall off a cliff when they switch leagues to MLB from like the KBO or other foreign leagues. But he, in the Japanese league, he was doing really good. We could go back to his stats. Say Suzuki, his statistics and history, baseball reference. Okay. So he's a Japanese player, obviously. In 2021, 319 average. We already went over this, but 436 on base percentage, 640. This guy's a beast at the plate. He's an outfielder. I feel like we can't really, like Slater's been struggling really bad. I feel like we can't really keep Slater that long, or we could have him in the minors, but I feel like Slater's been struggling a lot. Like he had a couple home runs, but like the power isn't really there. And another comment, sorry, just a second. Oh man, I hope we get Suzuki. I think that would work for us. Yeah, that would definitely be really cool to have Suzuki, because he could platoon in the outfield with our other outfielders like Yastrzemski, and Wade could play outfield along with first base. Wade is super good against righties, but we need a guy that can hit against lefties, and I think let's look. Suzuki is a right-handed batter, and so that'd be really good to have a right-handed batter in there, because for him have him play against lefties and Wade play against righties, like that would work out really well. And so that'd be pretty interesting to see if Wade and Suzuki, if we do sign him, could like switch off in the outfield and stuff. And Wade can play different positions also, but we could have Darren Ruff. Like imagine like Tommy LaStella, Darren Ruff, Lamont Wade Jr., Seiya Suzuki, Brandon Crawford, Evan Longoria, Mike Yastrzemski with Kirk Sally, Joey Bart. Like that'd be a pretty good roster. And so we need more outfielder and second baseman. Yeah, we do have Tommy LaStella, but I feel like we need another second baseman, and I doubt we're gonna get Dom Solano back. Mauricio Dubon is probably gonna still be working. I feel like Mauricio Dubon could be a platoon guy that we just bring up and down, who we could have as our like go-to guy if someone gets injured in the infield or even outfield, because he's a pretty good outfielder as well. And so it'll be interesting to see how the Giants play with Tommy LaStella at second, and yeah, on that. I also wait just a second. I also think that Bart got his shot because Sally can mentor him. It's time for Bart to step up. Yeah, definitely, definitely can bring up Bart, because he didn't really have much playing time in 2021. Let's see. Slater be a good DH if the NL does go to DH. Yeah, Slater could be a good DH. He doesn't really play amazing outfielding. Like he makes a couple of errors here and there. But yeah, DH I could see he needs to improve a little bit, less than the strikeouts. He does strike out quite a bit, so it'll be interesting to see if he can help those strikeouts. But yeah, if he could help with the DH and stuff. Joey Bart needs to make this team. Yes, definitely. We need to bring Joey Bart up. because with him, Kirk Sally, that'd be a pretty good duo. Have Kirk Sally do like 2 games like Buster did, and then Joey Bart go 1. Dubon, we can bring up. I like Dubon, yeah. Dubon is I feel like a really good utility guy that we can bring up and down between minors and majors. And so let's say Suzuki. If we look at his stats, he's super good. I still haven't heard any like big news on Alex Cobb, and so that is still pending. I think it'll be for cheaper, around like 10 million, maybe 11, but I don't really have an 100% sure. 67. Wait, let's see what is happening with the stream right here. Sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of guys that we could go after. So these are just some of them. Corey Seeger going to the Rangers, so that's good. That lessens our stress with the Dodgers. Dodgers still have Trey Turner, though. They still have Mickey Betts, Bellinger, who could come back because the postseason did show that he was doing really good. And also, they still have Muncy, but Muncy has a torn UCL, which is not good news for the Dodgers. And they lost Max Scherzer, but they still could sign Kershaw back. They could still sign some other free agents. They still have Urias. They still have time, but as for a Giants fan, really glad that the Dodgers are losing these guys after signing so many big names in the past. Let's see. I hope we go after Strowman. That'll put my mind at ease. Yeah, I feel like Strowman would be a really good signing. Let's go over to his stats. Marcus. Okay. Mark Strowman. Let's see. 3.6 WAR, 3.02 ERA. In 2021, he had 179 innings pitched, which is really good because we need someone that can eat up some innings. His ERA 3.02, like I said. He only allowed 60 earned runs, 158 strikeouts. So in 2019, he only had pretty not that much compared to 2021. So that could be some good news that he's getting even better. What are his Ks per 9? Homers per 9 is 0.09, which is really good. His walks per 9 is only 2.2. And the biggest thing is walks, because I feel like the less walks there is, the less jams we can get. Keep up the good work. I'm out for now. Okay, see you. And I'll be ending this stream soon in about 5 minutes. And so I hope you guys enjoyed, but we're still going to look at some Mark Strowman stuff. 158 strikeouts, pretty good. The hit by pitches don't really matter, but he's a super good arm that we could sign as a number 2. We have imagine Webb, Strowman, Wood, Disclani, and Cobb. That'd be pretty solid with Sammy Long and Beatty as our platoon. Kershaw's still out there, but I guess he won't sign with us. I don't really see Kershaw signing with us. I feel like it'd be pretty difficult for him to consider us, especially because Buster's gone. I feel like he would maybe consider us with Buster here, but with Buster retiring and all that, I feel like he probably won't. So that will probably do it for today's stream. I really hope you enjoyed, and we'll see what happens with some other signings, and if the Giants get Alex Cobb for sure, which I think they already have, but we'll see how much money it is. And so I'll see you next time for a new SF Giants recap video. Good stream recap. Thank you.